What's up, YouTube? It's your boy Zach. Listen to me and listen to me really good because I know a lot need to hear this. You know, it was yesterday or last night that when I was looking on some of my social media that someone said, I'm not perfect. And you know what? 100% true. Nobody's perfect. But we're all perfect in someone's eyes. So again, nobody's perfect. But we're all perfect in someone's eyes. And with that said, as I've told you, many, many things that I've been through, that's what I've been through. And, I get it. It's different, with me sitting down. I get that. 100% get that. And you know what? Yes, again, it sucks. It definitely hurts like crazy, being 36 and still never been on that day to that relationship because I'm sitting down. It hurts, and you ask somebody out and then they call you fake, which, like I said, that happened to me about 6 years ago, and I called the person out on it. But let me tell you something. Again, no, I'm not walking. I'm not walking on my own like, a lot of people are. And yeah, there's a lot of people out there that's not walking. That's worse off than me. That's, I don't want to say worse off, but people that have more difficulties, I guess I should say, would be the easiest way to say it. But that don't make, just because somebody has more difficulties than you, don't make that person any less of a person. We're all perfect in someone's eyes. No, nobody's perfect, but we're all perfect to someone. There's someone out there right now that thinks they're perfect. Now, who that is, I don't know. But there's somebody out there that does think you're perfect. And you know what? I'll say this because this needs to be said as well. And even and this is coming from me. This is how I feel. I don't know you I don't know you at all. All I know you as is someone that's on the other side of the screen. But with that said, in my eyes, you're all perfect. I may not know what your condition is or disability, but no matter that disability, you are a perfect person. Just the way you are. Just the way you are, a perfect person. And that's how I feel about it. Like I said, it took me a long time to get over that because, especially what I went through, like I told you. But you know what? There's somebody out there that probably think, I don't know who that might be, but there's probably somebody out there right now that says I'm perfect to them. And that's what I'm trying to tell you. You're perfect just the way you are. Like I said, it takes a lot for someone to maybe realize that. And again, with me talking right now, I don't want you to feel like I'm yelling at you. I'm not trying to be a yelling person. But what I am saying is this: you are perfect just the way you are. I promise you that. I promise you that. You're perfect just the way you are. No matter what. No matter what anyone says. You're perfect just the way you are. And like I said, I saw so many people say, well, I've got this, I've got that, I've got this, I've got that, or I've got this disability or that, Yeah, you might have a disability of some sort, but that don't take away your perfection. Let me say it that way. Might not have worded that right, but even, you know what? Like I said, I'm not perfect. No one's perfect. But we're all perfect to someone. Just like what I told you, what I've told you, a lot of times, I've had some low things. I've had some low statuses on different social media that I have. But you know what? And again, yes, that's what I go through. But, again, nobody's perfect. We all go through hell and back. That's right, I said hell and back. Because what you go through, you won't always go through that. I promise you that. Yeah, it sucks. It sucks. But sometimes, if not all the time, you just got to rip that Band-Aid off and just go for it and be yourself, and realize, yeah, there's going to be people out there that don't really like you. There's going to be people out there that just flat don't give a shit. I'm just going to say it. There's people out there that just don't give a shit. And like I said, I know that myself. Just like when I told you that I was bullied almost 4 times. Some people see that disability and think, better than them, and we can really just do whatever. They won't know it. They won't have it won't bother them any. And that's not true. What I'm saying to you is this again. Nobody's perfect. Nobody. But we're all perfect again to someone. So the next time you feel like you're not perfect, remember this again. I'm not perfect, but in someone's eyes, someone thinks I'm perfect. And that's their opinion. So whenever you feel like, or whenever you might hear someone say, you're not perfect, don't say a word. Just sit back, relax, and say, think, you know what? I'm not perfect to you. But I'm perfect to someone. So remember that. You're not perfect to everybody. Nobody's, like I said, nobody's perfect. But we're all perfect to someone. And, someone that looks at us, there's always going to be that someone that looks at us and thinks, well, there is the $1 million. There's the prize. There's that gold trophy. Because in someone's eyes, you are perfect. Just the way you are. I promise you that. And again, no. I only know you as someone on the other side of the screen here on YouTube. But I know you enough to know that you're perfect, just the way you are. And the reason I say that, as well as, I've saw so many people that went through, different situations. And a lot of situations, like I said, I know what that feels like. Because, again, I've been through a lot of those same situations. Just like, again, I know I've used this as an example many, many times. But, it's just like, I had one person say to me, you know what? Because of you, your voice took me out of that dark, depressive spot I was in. And now, because of you, I can smile. Because of you, I know how to smile. And you know what? That still, today, that comment today still sticks with me. That comment today still sticks with me. I promise you that. And that always will stick with me. Knowing that I was able to, save someone's life. And, help someone smile again. And that's what I try to do. I say try because, I'm not Superman. Even though I try to be. But I know enough to know that, again, nobody's perfect. But we're all perfect in someone's eyes. Again, with that said, I appreciate each and every one of you. I appreciate all my subscribers, all the likes, the views, the shares. I appreciate you all. Each and every one of you. And I will, no matter what it takes, I will stick by you through hell and back. Because, again, trust me, with all of the things that I've been through, like I told you I've been through, yeah, I went through hell. But you know what? This time, I'm going to go back through hell with a smile on my face. Why do I say that? Because I'm going back through it to pull you out of it. I'm going to go back through just to pull everybody else out. So yes, believe it or not, I do care. And like I said, I know that I told you a lot of, things that I've been through, and a lot of things were low. I know that. And like I said, unfortunately, that's what I've been through. But I'm smiling now. It took me a while. Yes, it took me a while to shake that. It took me a while to get through that. But, again, nobody's perfect. We all have our own flaws. And a lot of people don't understand that. And I hope, I hope a lot of people see this on YouTube and realize, oh, shit, he's right. And Again, am I right about everything? No. Do I wish I was right about everything? Yes. But again, there's a lot of things I'm not right about. And I realize that things that I've been through, again, a lot of people might think, what? And in other words, it may not make sense to somebody. Put it that way. But again, we all go through something or some things. Sometimes it takes months. Sometimes it's years. Sometimes it's weeks, and sometimes it's days that we go through something. Depends on what you go through. Like I said, depends on what you go through, because, like I said, some things it takes longer. Some things take longer than others. I'll put it that way, and it takes longer for some people than it does others to get through that situation. In other words, you might see someone who that goes through the same situation as you, but let me ask you, I'll say this. You might see someone that goes through the same situations as you do, but guess what? They might have to go through it more than you. And again, I know a lot of people don't understand. And that's okay. It's okay to not understand. But with that said, ask questions. When you ask questions, it helps you learn more. And it goes like that with me as well. If I say something that you don't understand, ask me. Ask me as many times as needed to understand that what I've said. And I will answer you. I will answer you. And again, there might be, like I said, there might be situations that, like I said, that I know that some people go through a lot of the same thing. You might have been through some of the same situations that I have, that I've been through. But also, you might be going through something or been through situations that I have not been through. But in that case, if it's a situation or situations that you're going through that I haven't been through, tell me so. And I'll give you my advice on how I would handle that situation. In other words, I'll put myself in your shoes, so to speak, and give you, like I said, give you my advice on, okay, now I'm in your shoes, and this is, I'm looking at this situation and seeing the situation as you see it. Here's how I would handle it. Here's how I would handle that situation. So keep being you. And like I said, when I posted, it was last night, about my total views, about our total views, let me put it that way. I was shocked to see all those views, compared to where we were 2 weeks ago. I was mind blown just to see that many views, and to see that we are at 657 subscribers from the last time I looked. And of course, when I did the last YouTube video about the subscribers, again, I am shocked. I shocked myself on this to see where we, look where we started at on day one. And look where where we are right now. Again, yes, I had to change a lot of the content. But again, that's understandable. Because therefore I was showing you my workouts. And I had to, that I had to go away from that. And that's, again, understandable. You got to look at things from, like, if someone says something, or anything else says, like, if someone says something, you got to try to, see things from their point of view, It's not just about your point of view. But you got to look at things from their, somebody else's point of view. But, even though I changed content, and like I said, when I got the one comment that said, because of you, I'm smiling again. I'm not in that dark, depressive spot. The more I saw that, the more I thought, you know what? I'm gonna keep going. The more I saw, somebody asked me, how do you deal with, bullies or mean people? Again, I've been in that situation multiple times. And like I said, bullied 4 times. And I've dealt with the rude, judgmental people a bunch. I'll put it that way. More times than I can count. And like I said, there's a lot of things that, like I said, nobody's perfect, but there's a lot of things that I've done over the years. I wish I wasn't the one that had, all the lows, all the low posts that I always had, on different social media that I have. But you know what? Part of that's what I go through, or what I've been through. It's not that, I want to be like that, but that's just part of what I go through, or what I've been through. And that's what I'm telling you. Next time you see somebody that, does something that might irritate you or what have you, think about this. Think about it as, well, you know what? They're not perfect. Maybe there's a reason why they were the way they were. And, ask them, and don't be a jerk about it, but ask them, why, what happened? Why did this happen, or why did that happen? And listen, hear what they got to say. Because I promise you, though, that response, or those responses, yeah, it's going to blow your mind. And I say that with all respect. Because, again, I've had people talk to me that I've talked to, about things that they've been through. And, I ask them, I say, what's going on? Or why this or why that? not to be judgmental, but to, to clear it, in my mind and say, okay, in other words, try to put myself in their shoes, and see, try to see things how they see it. So again, if you don't like how someone is, just remember, you know what? Nobody's perfect. Well, we're all perfect to someone. Again, there's questions that can be asked. Now, again, one questions can you ask? I have no idea. That one's on you. That one's on you completely. Ask them. Why? What? Why is this? Why is that? What causes this or what causes that? Um, and that'll help you. I feel like that'll help you a bunch understand a lot of things. Again, I can't say what questions to ask. Like I said, that's on you. I mean, if I knew what questions to tell you to ask, I would tell you. But again, that's on you what questions to ask. Again, also, maybe one question you can ask, and this is just from my point of view. Maybe take someone that's in a wheelchair, like myself, or take someone that's, walks with a walker or crutches, or walks with a walker or walks with crutches, or even a cane. Or maybe you see somebody that is an amputee, maybe they, they don't have the right leg or their left leg, or maybe they don't have an arm or a hand or, their fingers or anything. Ask them, what caused that? What happened? And I promise you this, when you ask them questions, instead of just being judgmental people, I feel like you'll understand things a lot better. Again, I'm the same way. From everybody that was judgmental over the years that I've been in a wheelchair, I say, you know what? Ask me. Ask me why this is this way or that's that way. Instead of being judgmental, ask. And that goes for anybody here on YouTube as well. Ask me. I don't mind answering any questions. Because, again, that's how you learn. That's how you learn. And you know what? If I see something, that someone says and I don't understand it, at first, yeah, I'm gonna read what they say and try to understand it, But in the case that I read something that somebody says and I don't, understand it, I'll ask, hey, what's this about? Or, why is this? Why is that? So again, keep being you. And let nothing or no one hold you back. When you don't understand something, ask. Ask any questions that need to be asked or that you want to ask to help you understand something that you question. But you know what? With that said, again, like I said, over 3 years I've been here on YouTube. Time is flowing by real fast. Faster than I can even say. I'll put it that way. I mean, over 3 years, boom, it's just like that. Wow. I wasn't expecting 3 years, being over 3 years right now. And time has went by fast. So, again, remember, you're not perfect. Nobody's perfect. But you know what? We're all perfect in someone's eyes. We're all perfect to someone. So keep being you. And keep smiling. Yes, you are perfect to me as well. Even though I may not know you. Like, I may not know you personally. I may just know you as someone here on the other side of the screen. But I still say you're perfect. And I say that, one, because, again, I saw all the comments, and when I see the comments, I see so many uplifting, confident, or uplifting, confident, comments, inspiration comments, or inspirational to me comments that are inspirational, motivating to me. And I see that and I think, this person's really perfect. And again, I may not know you personally, but I see comments that are, motivating, inspirational. And that's all, that's enough for me to say, this person, this is perfect. Because, again, that's how I was born and raised as well. When I was born and raised, I was born and raised to treat people with love and respect, honesty. Commitment. But you know what? What I told you, what I tell you that I went through, yes, it's been hell. I'll just say it that way. But again, there's a big story behind that. And I try to share that with you I try to share as much with you as I can. I share those things with you, not to brag, but to maybe try to help you understand things. And again, if you don't understand something, feel free to ask me. Something or some things. Like I said, it can be multiple things that you don't understand. And I got you. So keep being you. And let nothing or no one hold you back. And like I said, this is why I want to make this a working, paying job. Because I love to help people. And again, that's also how I was born and raised. It's not what I went through, but it's how I was born and raised. But with that said, let me know in the comments. What you'd like to hear. And, what would help, what can help you. And I'll get that done for you. Because I'll tell you what. When I reply to your comments, because I always will reply. But when I reply to your comments, guess what? By replying to your comments, someone else could see, what I say to you, and guess what? That can help them. So not only am I going to be able to help you, but it's also going to help somebody else that might see that comment when I reply to you. And again, that's what I love to do. I love to help people. That's how I was born and raised. And that's how I'm always going to be. Sometimes, yes, I go on rants. Don't get me wrong. But, there's, again, I've went through the hell that like I told you, my whole life for 36 years. And yes, it sucks. It sucks. Big time. And, like I said, I'll be 37 in October. So, yes, it sucks. But you know what? I've been knocked down so many times, and I'm still trying to stand back up. Sometimes I'm going to stand back up a lot faster than others. And like right now, as I told you, when a while back, when I had my pneumonia, when I was in the hospital, as a lot of you commented, you know what? That sucked when I had pneumonia, because that, like I said, that was the very first time I had that. I've never had that pneumonia until then. And it really yanked my strength away from me. And some of it, again, it's not because I'm not up walking on my own. And again, that's all because of my balances on my level 1 spina bifida effects. But you know what? I'm still going to be me. I'm still being me. I'm still going to be me. Still going to smile. And again, like I said, if you have any questions, feel free to ask me. Feel free to ask me. Because I'll answer anyone. I'll answer you. To the best of my knowledge. I mean, there might be something you ask me that I may not know the answer to. But if it's, something, that I may not know the answer to, I will do my best to go look for that answer. I will try to look up that answer, try to, do research and try to find, the best explanation for that answer to share with you. So with that said, keep being you. Let no one hold you back. I'm proud of you. More than I can even put into words. I'm proud of you. Keep being you. Much love. And let's get it.